like you are.
Away we go. What's up, YouTube? What's up? Are we Instagram?
We're Instagram, we're TikTok. Hello, everybody live. In time, I don't know if you're going to be part of the whole show, but eventually you have to go to YouTube. This is Jim Breuer Live. And always remember this: no media, no TV, no news equals free mind. I don't know if you know that. Stop watching the news. E is for evil, and S is for Satan. So, it's pretty... So we're going to get in a lot of stuff today. We're going to get in a lot of stuff today. We're going to go into race. We're going to talk about a little bit, not in a way you think it's going to go. South Park, what they put out there with Trump and Charlie Kirk. And yeah, let's start off with this. This is first of all, thank you. Thank you for even watching and hanging out and being there. So I appreciate that. So this is what we're going to start with. So I had to go to, I was in New Jersey to see my in-laws. My mother-in-law was having some health issues. Also, I'm leaving the country for good reasons. I'm going to travel around. It's not like I'm fleeing, or I hate the politics or whatever's going. I'm not shit. I'm leaving it. None of that. I'm gonna go. I'm leaving the country for fun. And so while I was gone, you know, once in a while I'll check my DMs on Instagram, and you know, I'm gonna be blatantly honest with you. 99% I don't look at. I really don't. I will show you. I have message after message after message. A lot of people send me videos. I ain't got time to. I got a wife. I got a family. I get friend. I don't have time to go through 150 messages. No offense. I'm just saying. However, once in a while, someone will, from the videos that I've been doing on YouTube, the Funny How God Works, the stories from there, I'll stop. And I'll read them, and they're very powerful, and they're really moving, and they're really emotional. And the other day, now you got to understand something. I'm working with this team here. Before we even go further, too, if you watch my podcast, The Bruniverse, this Saturday's the last one. This is the very last one, and from now on, we're going to be always doing Jim Breuer Live. Eventually, we plan on having guests in here, live guests. To me, live is the way to go. You can't edit. You can't escape what's going on. It's here. It's now. It's raw. And this is whatever comes out is going to come out. YouTube, everything I say today is just a goof. I don't know any facts. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a politics. It's 100% entertainment. Don't take anything I say seriously. So with all that, sugar boogie boogie, let's move along. So while I'm looking at my DMs on Instagram, I want to show you the power. See, people don't believe in brainwashing. I'm gonna give you a great example right now. How powerful news controls your brain, controls your emotions, and controls your mind. Blindly. Here's a DM, okay? You can't even. I shouldn't say all the words, but I'm not gonna use the words that were watching Kardashians when all of a sudden his phone is going bing, 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 bing. Dude, I'm blowing you up on YouTube right now. You said that Jim Breuer's an effing punk ass mother effing sucking Putin's donkey. You effing suck. Was that you? Well, and normally I gotta be honest with you, I do not respond to this because I know this is an unhinged human being. This is unhinged. And so I laughed. I put the laughed emojis up, and then I simply sent him a video to humanize it. And I said, "Do you feel better?" And he went, "Yeah, real funny, mother effer. Putin is effing bombing and killing innocent Ukrainians. You piece of..." And he goes on and on and on. And I said, so what does that have to do with me? What is Putin and me being a mother effer and all this? I want you to think about, and we go into it. I'm going to show you how we went to this. And he goes, I said, what does it have to do with me? Which he replies, you, talking Zelensky, he's a mother effing hero. Okay. I love a man in tights. I love Zelensky's old videos when he's got his tights and he's flamboyant and he's an actor and a comedian before he became your hero. I get it. I can see how he's probably a great decorator. He probably can ice skate, figure skate like a mofo. I bet you Zelensky must be able to do one of these when he's on the skates and come around and whatever rocks your boat, brother. And so I wrote, oh, okay. And I said, listen, man, the world is a stage, my friend. Love and peace to us all, okay? It's all just a show. And it is. It's a show. And when humanity understands that, you'll start you'll start understanding things better. So he writes, come on, man, you know better than that. So I said to him, who's in entertainment and goes behind the curtain? And who sees things that the public will never, ever be able to see or possibly ever be able to handle? You or me? Maybe you should ask yourself that question. I have nothing to gain but revealing what I know. Nothing. I said, good conversation. Take care. And then I sent him a video, and he couldn't get it. So I sent him this audio. Are we able to play this, Kyle? Because I could play it right here if we can. Can you play it or no? Okay. Is it playing? Here.
Think of this. You don't know me and I don't know you. Yet, you allowed a situation that most likely you don't live there, you know nothing about except for what you've seen on television and whatever political beliefs you hear. And that enraged you and blinded you to the point where you reached out to me that you don't even know. You know nothing about me and I know nothing about you. And the words you spewed were so hateful, you probably could kill if you had to. That's the power of controlling your emotions. That's the power. Now, I'm not going to try to convince you anything. All I'm going to say is let peace get in your heart, bro. Don't let things control you like that. Your life is too valuable to allow that in your heart. That's all. Now, have a great day. The general public will never know what truly goes on behind the scenes, and it is frightening when you truly know.
Which he replies, I guess I let my emotions get the best of me from watching some of your video clips, and for that I apologize. You're a talented guy, and that's why I follow you on Instagram. I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree on political matters. Sorry for that. And I said, and this is how we get back to human conversation. I don't know how to explain this to everyone. The word politics, all it does is put you in a category. How do you see Zelensky? If I say Zelensky was wearing tights, which he was, and Zelensky was an actor, comedian, which he was, how does that make you so angry? I'll tell you why. Because this 24/7, Zelensky, Russia bad, what the who? gives a rat's ass? Do you live there? Do you go to Ukraine? Do you go over there? Do you sit there and you watch everything happening? No. All this man knows is what this person's telling him. That's it. And you don't think that has the power to control you? This person, think about this. You wake up in a day, you don't go outside and go, God, thank you for this incredible day. I can't believe I'm alive again. Oh my God, the sun, how amazing the sun feels. Hey, let me call one of my, I haven't talked to my daughter in a while. I wonder how she's doing. You know what? My sister's been dealing with a lot of issues at home. She's going through a divorce. Let me call. No, the first thing you do is go, you ass, Emma, Ethel, and you're typing it. You're typing it. Because you didn't like that I said Zelensky wears tights. Because this, I will control your emotions. I will teach you what to think. You think you've absorbed your own free will. You think you have advanced of being a monkey. Well, think again, because I control your mind. I control your mind. I control your thoughts. I control your visions. I control your actions. I will make you DM Jim Breuer. Do you see how it dehumanizes everybody? It dehumanizes you. Media has assaulted humanity. All of it. They're criminals. The people that run media, all the news channels, criminals. Criminals. The anchors, criminals. They're taking this. Here you go. Go preach more hate. Go preach more judgment. Go preach. Well, I'm a godly man. Not anymore. This is your God. One nation under God, as long as it's a dollar bill. When are we gonna wake up? When are we as humans gonna turn this off? What do you need to know that's going on? Oh my God, how long has this been going on? I'm 58 years old. I used to have to go to school and they go, okay, everybody, we're gonna have to go under a desk right now and do a drill in case Russia nuclear bombs us. That was 50 years ago. They had children. They were brainwashing us, installing fear as children. First of all, a child should not be outdoors. Excuse me. A child should not be indoors. I hate to tell you that, but I believe school too was meant to that's all it is. It's brainwashing. Think as a child. I was a child. We had to go under a desk and we had to go in a hallway and we had to take our jackets and like this is gonna save us if a nuclear Wow, so glad I had my wool jacket on. Holy crow, thank God I was under my wooden desk. When are we gonna stop with the fear-mongering? It never ends. And we really think we're advanced. We're not. We're not. Because all we do is fall for the garbage on television. What is garbage? I dare anyone to watch any Netflix and tell me there's no sexuality in any of the shows. Sex. Just tell me all the things you'll learn from it. Did any of the programs teach you about being kind to one another? Does the news ever go, hey, you know what? We're going to try something different today. We're gonna practice being really kind to one another. No, never. War, hate. This poor bastard, who I feel bad for, and I thank God, he started off literally wanting to kill me. Wanting to kill me. Because of his political I'm political. Why would you sacrifice yourself? And listen, I have friends that say they're conservative or they're patriots or they're Republican. Why do you need to say that? Did you get a little Republican jacket? Hey, I'm an alpha Republican. It's all division. All of it. All of it. Dehumanizes you. And now here we are. We started off with F you punk ass mother effer, sucking Putin's ding, you effing suck, to I'm sorry, man, you too. And that's how we start just, hey man, what does that got to do? Let's just, you got to start talking to each other. People don't talk to each other because you think you voted for someone else. I was just upstate. I was just at my, I'm going to call out a family member here. I was just up in New Jersey, and I'm seeing whatever, my father-in-law or whatever. My wife has had, you know, she went up and down through cancer and all these things. We had a situation with her mother-in-law. One of her family members, very close to her, he knows who he is. She knows who she is. Said something to my father-in-law because we're up there. It's all political. Because they think we're like this. I put on the, I talk about Joe Biden, so therefore I must be a season. No, the reason why I talked about Joe Biden in the past was because I don't know what it was. Think about that. That thing would come out and go, hey, one comment sums up his whole, the best way to prevent a hurricane is to get vaccinated. Yeah, he's clear. He's clear. As long as he's not on the other team. What a sick mentality. They got us all in a sick mentality. So now we're talking to this guy. So thanks to him and thanks to me, two opposite ends, we started talking. But I have to start telling him politics. Everything's, it's not politics. If I talk about vaccines and whatever, it's not politics. This, how shall we divide them even further, sire? We'll bring up now medicine. Yes, I love it. I love it. May I stroke my evil beard? Yes, sire. Yes, sire. Those who question us will say that they're anti-vax. I love it. And they'll say they're Trump lovers. I love it. Once we get them in the Trump corner, then we can truly hate them. This is pure evil. All of it. All of it. All of it. I'm not discounting any of them. I'll give you more examples as the night goes on. I always end up knocking all these poor things over. So, let's get into this, too. I grew up watching South Park, and South Park was so freaking funny. I even auditioned for Trey and Parker's movie. It was a movie where like it was like a new game, or all I remember, it was a long time ago, and I wanted it so bad because I was such big fans of South Park and continue to be. They're what's the play? Do you guys know they do a play? Book of Mormons. Let me tell you something. If you go to New York, I don't know if the Book of Mormons is still playing. Get tickets for it. First of all, I'm not a play guy. Anything where I gotta watch, where I gotta look at I gotta sit down and they're like, here's your program. If I'm getting a program, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be anywhere. I'm getting a program. They're like, oh, coming up next is in 3 weeks we're doing Les Miraz. The redo for the 400th time. This time it's Lady Gaga. Oh boy, that'll make it so much better. We got to get our tickets now. See Lady Gaga. You think she'll pour that stuff down her throat and then vomit it and then resurrect her character 8 years later? So with that said, South Park, they went after, I think it was, what was it? They went after Charlie Kirk and Trump. And that's another thing. Trumpers, listen, everything's fair game. Everything's fair game. I haven't seen it yet, but I wouldn't mind checking out. Let me see the Charlie Kirk video you got here. There's two ways to handle this.
Apparently, I am going to be on South Park next week. That's right. Cartman is going to be playing me on campus.
I have that shirt, by the way, and I know where you got it.
August 6th.
You can just shut up, baby, because you hate America and you love abortion.
On an all-new South Park.
Honestly, I think this is hilarious. They're probably going to roast me. They're going to make fun of me. And you know what? We need to be able to take jokes as conservatives, and that is what makes us different than libs, different than those on the left.
Libs,
we can laugh at ourselves.
Conservatives,
we can be
left,
made fun of. We can kind of have a lighthearted attitude about it. Can't wait to see these professional comedians and the South Park legends do what they will do with our viral campus tours. And by the way, that goes to show the power and the impact of what we've been able to do on campus. Can't wait to watch.
Well, thank you, Charlie. Now, Charlie Kirk, I have to say, I think he's really smart. He's a big dude, by the way. I saw him in person here in Naples, Florida. He had no clue I was standing right in front of him. He was with Byron Rogers, who's running for governor, I believe. And the two of them were at a tiny little place, a private yacht club in Naples. And I'm not going to lie to you, and I mean no disrespect to anyone out there. Again, I'm just telling you what I saw. Charlie, I believe, is starting to, in my opinion, really play himself. He's starting to play... he's leaning towards a certain team, which I'm really sick and tired of hearing any team except for here at home. I don't give a rat's bunny button. I don't know why I said that. It's just, I didn't want to say ass. It's not wrong saying ass. I didn't want to, so do you have the video of, this is when, in my opinion, Charlie Kirk got exposed. And, yeah, go ahead, play this video.
That the Jews run the American government.
That's not a secret, Charlie.
Well, no, I find it hilarious that
all of Trump's cabinet is Jewish. Israel did 9/11, Charlie.
Oh,
Israel did 9/11, Charlie.
Why are we in the middle? I served.
Now watch Charlie's
Why were we in the Middle
response.
East?
Well, I mean, you can,
why were we in the Middle East?
You can reject involvement in the Middle East without also believing Israel
right
did
now
9/11.
He knows the crowd.
So
he knows he don't want to go in his territory.
Help me understand this. Who were the hijackers of the planes?
Oh,
Explain to me.
my God, Charlie. Charlie. Who were the hijackers? Listen, I had this conversation with really close friends of mine. And this is, what you see on TV can be so traumatizing. And then the assault that happens after completely blinds you and emotionally gets you. I'm sorry. I don't believe for 1 second that a bunch of, I'm sorry. And I got news for you. When Charlie said this, the youth of America is not stupid. You can hear the crowd. They silenced Charlie Kirk when he said, okay, well, who hijacked the plane? Listen, I know a lot of you, this is a very touchy subject, but sometimes you have to face a subject instead of believing what the narrative tells you over and over and over again. Okay? Let's go with the theory. I'm just going to ask questions. Let's go with the theory that Muslims learned how to fly a plane. Okay? That from the desert, they They were from, I don't know, where were they? Where they say they were from? Osama bin Laden, wherever he was from. So a bunch of Islamists, or whatever they labeled them out, for 5 years they learned how to fly a plane. Okay. Let's say they were on a, not one of them, not one, said, you know, I kind of like watching baseball, and and I kind of like, you know, some of the American food, and since I'm able to fly, I mean, why not go home and learn to fly a commercial jet? We're going to go with that theory. And then, after that horrible event, they find in the midst of all the rubble the passports in plain sight. Hey, we found it! This is like out of if this was in a movie, you'd say this is the dumbest movie. If I was the executive, I went, dude, come on, is this a comedy? This is sick. You got to rewrite this part. Let's go with that. Here's where people don't use just your own thinking. The buildings went straight down. Everyone knows that. Demolition. And what's the excuse that everyone says? Well, it's because it was so hot. Think about that. It was so hot that the beams just melted. So let me ask you this. Before they collapsed and the fire was so hot that it melted steel, what were the human beings doing 5, 10 feet above them in the walls, waving scarves for their lives? How are they not burnt? So the heat rises. Common sense would tell you heat rises. But this heat melted downward, and but the people on top, help! Somehow they're able to get away with that 5 billion degrees that's burning steel. And think about this. You trust our government? A plane was hijacked from Boston? That's a solid 1 hour ride to New York. A solid 1 hour ride. Solid. Unless you're in some psycho Learjet. I lived in Chester, New Jersey. When Trump was in town, if a plane went up, there were Learjets there, and they were seconds. You have Air Force bases in Jersey. You have Air Force. Did our military were they sleeping? And I'm not attacking military. I'm asking you, do you not think about these things? We allowed a plane to get hijacked. As Charlie said, who are the hijackers? Who were the hijackers, Charlie? And where'd you get that information? From this? Or from the people that are paying you and funding you to speak? Because you talk about Israel a lot. Talk about Israel a lot, Charlie. I saw you do it right in front of my own face, which is fine. But we're going to get to that. Now, let's say the motive for these crazy, psychotic Muslims was to, what was it? They hate our freedom. I have a simple question. They hate your freedom so much that they were able to mastermind. They don't even have a military. But they were able to mastermind getting planes hijacking with America not showing up to help their citizens, while George Bush is in a classroom as they're saying, the kids are repeating the words, hit, steal, plane. I'm sure you guys seen that video. And no one comes even after the second plane hits. Still no military. Are we the greatest strength in the world? Are we? Have we put too much trust? Have we? So it's freedom that they hated? I don't know about you, but if I'm going to attack someone I know got the biggest military in the world, has the greatest advanced technology, if I'm going to take out one of their most important buildings and somehow get away with it because the military was nowhere to be found that day, you better have a second wave coming. And that was it. Oh, yep, we took down the planes, we took down the towers, so we win. Are they that smart enough and brilliant enough to pull that off, but yet dumb enough to just go, okay, war's over. That's what you're telling me? I'm really sorry. I have a lot of questions. Rumsfeld the day before, we lost trillions of dollars in the Pentagon. Whoops, Pentagon got bombed. Crazy, these Muslims. Let me tell you something. The young generation were huge Charlie Kirk fans. I was a huge Charlie Kirk fan. This moment, I don't know who this kid was. He exposed Charlie and has not been able to get back on his feet. He can't escape this. He cannot escape this. You can't be that brilliant and go, so you, they were Muslim. And then, come on, man. You got to ask some questions here. We can't just believe everything that's thrown at you. And Charlie, I think, you know, let's talk about Israel for a second. This has nothing to do with the people of Israel. It has nothing to do with anyone Jewish or anything like that. But I'm really tired of hearing how we got to support Israel. And I'm really tired of everyone just blindly not even knowing why. So again, I want to ask you just a couple questions. These are just questions. I had this conversation with my father-in-law. And he goes, well, October 7th. Okay. We all agree October 7th, according to the information that came out on all the news feeds and the videos, we agree that was horrible. I think we can all agree with that. So here's where my question lies. In my opinion, I think Israel is probably, from the people I spoke with from there and all that, probably maybe the most advanced technology-wise, weapon-wise, one of the most technology, their military, far, way advanced than most of us will ever realize. I get bad guys came, but my question again is with 9/11, you fell asleep at the wheel for 2 hours? When you fly to Israel, I've seen this out of Newark, New Jersey. Not only, if you're flying a plane to Israel, not only do you have to go through our security, TSA, then you have to get through Israel security at their own gate. I don't know if a lot of you know that, but go look at AL and go watch that. And I have no issue with that. And they'll say, no. Okay, no. Why? Because we say so. And they have every right to do that. So here's a country that, or I don't know, whatever it is, in my opinion, they have a lockdown on security. So they fall asleep at the wheel by guys parachuting. They just no one saw the parachutes coming in. I saw those videos. I'm not crazy, right? Weren't they like parachuting in? Yeah. So parachutes are coming over a wall. No security, nobody, whoops, missed out on that. Israel dropped the ball. So let me ask you this. That's your excuse for killing and bombing all the rest of the countries that's going on now. So I just have a question. Common sense. We need to support Israel. Hamas is, everyone says this. Oh, so you're a Hamas supporter. No. I don't like that they're killing children. Well, they hide them in hospitals and they hide innocent people. I am so sick of that ridiculous comment. So let me ask you this. When we have a shooter in a school or a hijacking situation, let's say there's terrorists in a school, do we bomb our children? Do we bomb the kids? How many innocent lives? About 300. How many bad guys? Just 6 of them. Bomb it all! Yeah! Well, October 7th. Hey, what about the hospitals? There's 3 or 4 bad guys in there. Bomb it all! Yeah! What kind of sick mentality is that? When you go common sense, not what the paid information, the paid agenda tells you, the paid agenda that controls your mind, your decisions, your emotions, tells you who to vote for, how to vote for. They ask you to take your children. They ask your children to go fight their situation that they created. They ask your child to be sacrificed. Not yours, ours. So, if this guy, okay, this guy right here, he comes over and he goes, and he does horrible, horrible things to this guy and his family. Are you with me? But now this guy goes, I'm killing you, I'm killing you, I'm killing you, I'm killing you, I'm killing you. Who, what country? I'm killing them, I'm killing them, I'm killing them. So if my neighbor does horrific things in my home, do I get to massacre my entire neighborhood and then decide, you know what? Now I'm going to go to Bonita Springs, and then I'm going to go to Georgia, and then I'm going to convince America that we should fight another country and take that leader out because I said they're bad. Makes you wonder who's running our country. It makes you wonder when people like Charlie Kirk are saying, we need to, no we don't, Charlie. We don't need to help anyone outside our neighborhood. We don't need to help anyone except for right here. I don't want to hear we need to run. I'm the one working. You're the one working. You're the one working. You're the one sacrificing your child. I'm the one sacrificing my children. Why are we sacrificing our time, our money for a country I've never been to? Let's call this out while we should. Every day is a new distraction. I don't want to fund Israel. I don't want to fund anybody. I want to fund us. How about we fund our elderly? How about we fund everyone that has autism? How about we fund everyone that gets cancer? And God forbid, how about we start funding all the food that causes cancer? How about we start funding information about what a vaccine truly does to the human body and what is in that vaccine? How about that information? How about we start funding planting trees? And how about we start funding things that make humanity good again? How about that, Charlie? How about that, everybody? How about that, Congress? How about that, Trump? How about that, Biden? How about that, left wing? How about that, right wing? How about that, Republican? How about that, conservative? How about that, liberal? please, I'm begging you. Stop watching the news. Satan, evil, period. Because if it wasn't, it would come up. You can't tell me if you took leaders, let's take some Israelis, some Palestinians, people from Ukraine, people in Russia, and sit them in a room, not the leaders, not the ones that take our money, not the ones that do the photo ops, not the ones that are pretending they're politicians for the people. Let's people get together and let's watch a live forum. And if it takes a week, 2 weeks, 3 months, 5 months, won't that be worth it? Rather than, we need to bomb Syria. We need to destroy Iran, North Korea, Russia. How about we stop that nonsense? Mind control and brainwashing is a conspiracy. Yes, I know, sire. As long as we keep saying that, they'll believe it. The Roman Empire's never ended. It just got better pizza. What did South Park have to do with Trump? That was quite a, wow. Okay, Trump mocked by South Park. And now, no offense, I don't know what's going to be said here or done, but it's okay to mock. But I am curious to see what their angle is. Let me see their angle.
South Park is back on the air, the premiere episode of the 27th season. And just like South Park, there were no holds barred. They went after Donald Trump. They talked about Jeffrey Epstein. Stephen Colbert. And their parent company, Paramount.
Okay, and the Paramount deal.
In one of the clips, Donald Trump replaces a longtime character, Saddam Hussein. He's in bed with Satan, the devil, and Satan asks Donald Trump if he's on the Epstein list. Jesus also shows up. Longtime character from South Park shows up again this season. He's at South Park Elementary, takes it over. Says he was forced to do that because of a lawsuit and an agreement with Paramount, and he urges South Park citizens to settle a legal dispute with Donald Trump, or else they'll end up like Colbert.
I didn't want to come back and be in the school, but I had to because it was part of a lawsuit and the agreement with Paramount.
The president's suing you?
The guy can do whatever he wants.
Suing Jesus.
Eat the bread.
It was a bold episode, to say the least. Bolder still because South Park just signed a $1.5 billion deal with Paramount.
Good for them. Holy crap.
50 new episodes
Good
over
for
the
them.
next 5 years.
So what's the...
And right after they signed that, like 2 days after they signed it, they went on the air with this episode. As you would imagine, it got a lot of attention.
Wow.
Out there in the ether,
Brilliant.
the world, but also from the White House. They actually released a statement responding.
The White House released a statement to South Park responding. Why would
the
see
show
now?
hasn't been relevant for 20 years and is hanging
This
on
show
by
has
a
been
thread
relevant
with
for years.
uninspired ideas and a desperate attempt for attention. President Trump has delivered on more promises in just 6 months than any other president in our country's history, and no fourth-rate show can derail President Trump's hot streak.
Okay, all right. I didn't watch the episode, but listen. They didn't see now. At least Charlie Kirk had a good attitude about it. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on South Park, and they're gonna roast me." If they're gonna make fun of Trump or whoever, I'm assuming Trump has it. You don't have to defend a television show unless they're telling you how to vote. It's comedy. It's comedy. I don't have an issue. I have no issue with them. I have no issue with that whatsoever. And you know, the Epstein files, this is, all right, I have a question. These Epstein files Now, this is not an official list. This is a list. Now, everyone, I have a question for you, okay? I started thinking about this because there are pictures of Trump with Epstein and young ladies. You can't deny that. I don't know if it's AI. I don't know what it is, but I have seen them before. Now, that doesn't allude to anything. However, now, I do remember years ago when Epstein was being investigated, they said Trump was very cooperative. This is before he even, we even really knew about Epstein. Now, here's what I ask. This is something that's intriguing. Think of everyone that hates Donald Trump. Hates him. With a passion. Who are some of the people? De Niro. Joe Biden. Obama. Hillary Clinton. Oprah. No, Oprah doesn't talk. Whoopi Goldberg. Chuck Schumer. Pelosi. All these people. Who's that one actor? Oh my God, he's always. Oh my God, what's the guy's name? No, Rob Reiner. Why aren't any of them screaming at the top of their lungs to release the Epstein files? Don't you think Chuck Schumer should be up there with his glasses going, I really think that Donald Trump should release the Epstein files? Don't you think so? I can't take that guy. And not because he's a political affiliation. I don't trust anyone when they have their readers here and they talk to you in this situation. I couldn't stand the other guy. Who's during the Bush administration? Cheney. Let me tell you something. Any psychiatrist will tell you when you speak in this demeanor, that's not a good demeanor. You're hiding something. Let me tell you something. Watch every time Chuck Schumer speaks, he talks like this and he that. I don't trust him. I don't trust his demeanor. Why isn't Chuck Schumer going, I want to see the Epstein files? Why isn't Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton going, we demand the Epstein? What happened to the Me Too movement? Where's all the Me Too's going, hey, listen, we don't like, we get very upset and we're going to march because women were touched and they were looked at funny, but hey, children getting raped on an island, let's get a new deal for a TV show and keep quiet about this one. Where are they? Where's everyone's demand to see these files? I don't want the files. I want the list that went to the children. To the children. Where are they? Oh my God, we love marching. Don't we love marching? Oh my God, BLM. LGBTQ2. Women's rights. We have a vagina. Children's raped on Epstein's Island. Hey, what's the new Kardashian? Have you seen the new Netflix movie? How are the Dodgers doing? I don't know, but I tell you, South Park is funny. Nobody? Nobody? Nobody. No. Where's my news? Did I throw it far away? Where's? Where? I got it. Hold on. Where are these guys? Get your vaccine! Get your vaccine! We are the news, and that's just disgusting. The people that don't get vaccinated. Nobody's saying show who went to the island. Tell us who tortured children. Tell us now. Nobody? No news channels? None? Not one. No celebrities? Not one? Not one? Not one Me Too? Not one political? Where's the Democrats? Where's the Republicans? Not one? Wow. These are the questions you got to start asking yourself. I find this very interesting. I would think, and I'm not saying Trump is innocent, I truly think, I don't know if we've seen the real Trump for a while. I'm just being dead honest with you. I don't believe any of the people I see. When I look at a lot of the people on television, they look a lot different 4 years ago, 6 years ago. I already told you, look at Elon Musk 8 years ago. He had a little chubby face. He was balding up here. His chin was not square like that. I guess I'm wacky. Must be, he looks high, so he must be high. I guess so. I guess so. Let's see some of the, Katy Perry, Kathy Griffin, Whoopi Goldberg. I'm surprised Whoopi Goldberg has never, because you can't tell me Whoopi has never been notified that she's been on this Epstein's Island flight list. I would have announced that the first day that it was floating around, unless they think just ignoring it and it'll go away. Al Gore, Mr. Save the, oh my God, we need to, climate change. We need your tax dollars as we pay planes to spray stuff in the air. Hey, we need your money to save the planet as we develop more land, destroying the forest, adding more aluminum. Let's just kill more animals as we need to save the planet. Wow, do we fall for an awful lot, people? When are we going to start to wake up and realize 300 people control millions and millions of 350 people in a country? Think about that. 300 million people out there working every day, trying to get by, giving them money, and they're telling us, well, the planet's going down. Well, you're the one developing. You're the one creating wars. You're the one spraying things in the air. You're the ones creating the new technology of cars with batteries that are really dangerous for the ground. Huh. Wow, we just keep, here, read a new magazine. Get more information. Don't you want to be in the know? Don't you want to be smart? Don't you want to be in the now? And don't you want to know more than your dumb neighbor? Can we just get back to humanity? Can we get back to humanity? Can we get back to just talking to our neighbor and calling the people you love, trying to help someone out? Where's Epstein's list? We've seen the videos. Evil exists. It's time to face it. And fear has controlled human lives forever. Is there anyone fearless out there? Wouldn't it be great if the fearless began to rise? God, that'd be awesome. Who's on the list? Who's on Epstein's list? I would like to see the list come out. Come out. I don't want to hear we're using it to negotiate. Okay. The next one's going to be a doozy. But I got some stories to go with it. As we're, tap dancing around Epstein's list, and I'm sorry, but Stephen Colbert, again, we addressed it last week. You're blaming Paramount, and isn't it funny how he 33, guy's a millionaire, billionaire, he's been around forever, had a great career, can ride off in the sunset, but he's got to go, it's Donald Trump, it's Paramount. It's maybe your vaccine sketch was really disturbing, and we saw that you'll take money to sell anything blindly. Maybe it was everything about that, Steve? I don't know. Hey, how much do I get if I can promote vaccines and shame everybody? Even though we have no clue what's in them. But hey, the news and the scientists we have to trust the science. They'll never lie. If it's on TV, it doesn't lie. They've been lying to you forever and ever. Let me remind you of a big lie. Weapons of mass destruction. but yet you'll continue to believe anything they say. Whew. Okay. All right. That's cool. Did you guys see what happened in Cincinnati? For those of you who have no clue what happened, be very careful. This woman, who looks way worse there, was beaten along with 3 other men in their 50s, viciously, kicked, punched, stomped on. I saw multiple videos. One's more disturbing than the other. And what's more disturbing is, yes, let's say what really happened. If we got to be honest, they are all white, and it was a mob of what I saw, pretty much mostly black men and women, viciously, vicious. I'm talking, it was so disturbing to watch. A guy my age, white hair, he's facing this direction. Guy hits him from here. Another guy kicks, he knocks him down, and while he's disoriented, a guy kicks him in the face. While he's on the floor, he's getting this, when he stomped, he has this stomping. While 2 other people that had nothing to do with it they were like 5 feet away. They got knocked down. They said it's a man and a woman. No, there were 3 men. I saw the video with 3 men, and the one man gets hit, and he don't know what happened, and he's on his knees, and while he's on the knees, one of the men looked like he was going to help him, and while he was just innocently trying to get by his life, he gets kicked in the face and then stomped on repeatedly by women, by men. It may have been one of the grossest displays of humanity. It was a horrible day for humanity. These things have happened before on both sides. And what's more disturbing is when you have a person that represents Cincinnati. Councilwoman Victoria Parks says they asked for that beatdown. So we're going to hit a couple things here. First of all, forget that it's a white woman and white men were beaten by black people. Forget that. The fact that human beings have no moral, no faith, no God in their lives. Let's call it for what it is. Do you think anyone with any morals, with any type of morals, would at least try to help one of these people? You see someone on the floor defenseless and you stomp on them? You see a woman and you punch her in the face from behind, like she wasn't even looking. And a councilwoman, Victoria Parks of Cincinnati, councilwoman, they asked for that beatdown. Well, I've seen a lot of beatdowns in my time. I've seen people get beaten. I've seen people ask for beatdowns. I've seen people ask for beatdowns. And normally when the person asks for a beatdown, they get aggressive and they're like, you want to? And then finally the other guy pops him and knocks him down. Normally the person does what they have to do. They're defending themselves. None of these individuals were defending themselves. Big difference between deserving. I would like to ask Miss Councilwoman Victoria Parks, where did you grow up, sweetheart? Where did you grow up where, let's forget black and white, where you're willing to say in public, any human being deserves to get stomped on when they're not looking, deserves to get punched as a female from behind, punched multiple times, then hit, sucker punched by a man. Is this where we're going as a society? Dude. And what they're all going to do is the race bait. Black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. This is deeper than black, white. This is human versus what happened. This is a classic example of how do we start being better as human beings? How do we start being better? That is pure hatred and disregard for human life, which means you don't have a deeper regard for yourself. I used to watch fights in school. I went to Valley Stream Central High, graduated 1985. And when you watch a fist fight in person, I'm just being dead honest with you. You know, at first like, yeah, fight. But when you hear that sound, that horrid sound of a human being getting hit, and you see their face, that they're clearly hurt. I've never in my lifetime seen another human being continue to absolutely mutilate the other human being. That's when you lost all self-respect for yourself. You've lost all self-respect for humanity. And for a woman that's in a position like Victoria Parks, Victoria, how do you think, does this woman have children? Does she have, if my father was laying there or my mother was laying there and you said that, what you did, you didn't come to help the situation, you made the situation worse. I hold you responsible for your disgraceful display of humanity. You, Victoria Parks, you showed a despicable, disgraceful display of humanity. Now, wouldn't this be amazing? I've seen the online videos of people going, hey, you know what? I'm black and I feel horrible. They should be in jail. And I'm white and I'm this. We have to. Wouldn't it be amazing if the news or there were other organizations where we start getting together? And wouldn't it be nice if there was one apology? Just one apology? Can we just start with that? Can we start with going, hey man, I'm really sorry. That was horrible, and I don't know why. I'm sorry what happened to you. Going to the hospital and leaving a flower, doing something for any of these people. Maybe can we form all these things when tragedy happens, but do not fall for the race bait here. That's what they want us to do. They want us to start hating one another. And I'm going to give you great examples of how deep this goes. All the way to the time when I spent years in Harlem. This is well organized. Not this beating. The beating was just a horrific display of humanity. But again, where's your morality? Where's your spirituality? Where's your faith? Who's your God? Do you have any? My God, who are the people you surround yourself with? Not one person try to stop this? I watched it. Ain't nobody trying to stop it. People videotaping, they're laughing. They want this in America. They want this. Can we how about a march for that? How about a march of holding hands? Maybe the Christian community, churches, black churches, white churches, Baptist church, Jews, Muslims. Why don't we form something? Why don't we have a day where we go, a nonviolence day, and we speak about things like this? And how do we take care of one another? And how do we understand each other's culture? And why can't we have talking forums? But no, what they're going to do is go on, the white guy and the black people. And the black people are like, oh, we were slaves and 200 years ago. So therefore, I'm allowed to stomp on someone. Sorry, that card is gone. You weren't here, I wasn't here. That's life 101. My grandfather got killed by Nazis. Should I go and kill all the Nazis now? Should I go over and kill all Germans? We're going to go back in time? We're here, right now. So how do we fix right here, right now? Any of those news channels talking about how do we spread love? How do we start using love to take care of one another? Any of them? Here's what we should do? No. It's going to be, white people don't, this happens a lot in the black community. It's just going to stir up more hate. And that keeps you away from Epstein's list, and that keeps you away from North Carolina, that's still destroyed. Most of Florida on the West Coast that got destroyed. Maui, that got burnt down. The waters that were poisoned in Palestine, Ohio. All these things they're doing slowly over time. Fires in California, and they just keep, look over here, look, here's Epstein's list. Psych! Here it is, psych! You want it? Psychs, want it? Psych! Give us your money. Hey, Israel, you want some more money? We got everyone so brain controlled, they're sending Jim Breuer messages because he said Zelensky wears tights, even though he did. Yes, sire, we control them all. Do you think one day they'll realize their own power within? The God within them all. The spirit within them all. They did kill the ingenious people. The indigenous, I can't pronounce it. We'll say Indian. We'll say native. Yes, I like native, because if I say Indian, they won't know which type. They were connected to the earth, to peace, how everything should be respected. We live in concrete jungles that was created. We created that. This all comes down to morality. You don't have God in your life, so you're willing to watch a female that gives birth to humanity, the caregiver of life, a mother, get viciously punched blindly by a man and stomped from behind by two other females that have no regard for life. Stop throwing the logs on the fire. What do we do about this? And I'll tell you something. I started thinking years ago. All my brothers are cops, were cops. Some of them retired. One passed away. Nephews. I found this interesting. I want to tell you about my time in Harlem, growing up a Long Island white boy. And that opened my eyes big time on many levels. Don't you think it's interesting if you grew up in an area? I'm not going to lie to you. I grew up extremely racist. I didn't like black people. I didn't like brown people. You know why? I'll tell you why. Don't like them! Here's another video of a black guy robbing someone and a black guy raping someone. Black people, bad, bad, bad. They're poor, they steal, they rape. That's what I grew up every night on the news. Every night on the news. If I saw a black guy, I was like, quick, get in the house! There's a black man walking down the street. I'm not even kidding. I'm being blatantly honest. I never had to leave my street. I never left the neighborhood. So how am I going to know? Matter of fact, where I grew up, at the end of our street was all black. I was Valley Stream. That was Rosedale. At the end of my street, Jefferson Avenue, was all black. The whites walked on our side. This is 1980s. This isn't 1940s, 1950s. This is 1980s. At the end of the street, all black. We were all white. If I walked into their neighborhood, as God is my witness, they'd say, "Go home, white boy. You're on the wrong side, white boy." And I was like, "Nope, you're right. Sorry, didn't mean to." If they walked down the street, everyone would get heightened. And they would just stare. Now, growing up like that, think about this. If you grow up in a neighborhood where they're constantly showing the news that black people are thieves, they're rapists, they're no good, and you get that over and over and over, how many times do you see in the police academy where they'll take all white cops that grew up in that mentality and put them in the worst black neighborhoods, knowing the blacks are on edge and the whites are on edge? Why would you? That's no different than Arabs and Israel, so let's put Israel next to all Arabs. That should turn out friendly. What? Is that a design plan? Is that a design plan? Why would you take brainwashing young white people, turn them into cops, and then put them in an area that hates white people? And listen, black people, don't pretend you don't hate. You hate. I've seen it and I've heard it my own two eyes. I used to be in Harlem, and we're going to get into that. Listen, good friend of mine would always say, white people this and white people that. And he goes, not you. He'd talk about a specific religion. And he'd go, but not you, Jim. You're different. So I would hear everything. This isn't like I'm just making it up. These are real conversations. But this is when I realized even more how our society, it breeds this. You have your Al Sharptons, you have all the race baiters for each side. Now, I get this show, and I'm telling you right now, I love Saturday Night Live, but to me, the greatest time in my life was a TV show called the Uptown Comedy Club. It was my very first television show. First television series, I should say. And it was on 125th Street and 5th in Harlem. And I got to tell you, it changed my life. It changed my life because I saw people. I didn't see black people, I saw people. And it was incredible to be accepted by that community because I didn't show I was scared. I didn't show that, oh my God. As a matter of fact, some of them, I remember when I would pull up, we'd start rehearsing and the guys would be like, Breuer, Jimbo, where'd you park? And I said, by the Apollo. And they go, just leave your windows down. This is what they say. Leave your windows down and your console open so the crackheads don't smash your window. They're just looking for change. And I went, oh, okay, thanks. But at the same time, like, oh my God, like, that's just normal? Oh my God. Everywhere was cholesterol. We kill black people. Cigarettes and cholesterol. Booze, cigarettes, get some cash, and more cigarettes. Cigarettes, fried things, kill you. Menthol cigarettes, booze, cash. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, we have diabetes. Yeah, I see. They're pretty much injecting it in you. And I'll never forget, it was, I'm telling you, it was the best time of my life to go from a Long Island white kid that was always on edge to becoming part of a family in Harlem. And I used to walk to the bodega all the time, and I used to get my sandwiches across the street, and I would walk around. I didn't fear anything. Matter of fact, a lot of times they thought I was a cop. I would go outside, I swear to God, and guys would come up to me. All my life, true story. Guy came up to me, he's like, he goes, the real problem is the Haitians. Because I'm from Jamaica. The Haitians are the problem. And I said, hey, man, I'm not a cop. He said, oh, I thought you were a cop. And then I also remember one time being in a bodega across the street on 125th and 5th, and there was, I don't know, near the Apollo, a Nation of Islam, and again, has nothing to do with the religion or if you're part of it. It really doesn't. To me, it's all individuality, the person. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little worried. One of them came in, and he was a big dude, and he had like red, I feel like he had a red cap, and he had red jacket, and he started blowing me up in that. I was scared for my life. He's like, yo, you white man. He was calling me white devil. You white devil? You white devil? You don't belong here. Bro, I was scared. I was scared for my life. And I was ready to walk out, but he was blocking the doorway. And nobody, you could tell nobody was coming to my aid at that moment. Except for one guy did come to my aid. His name was Flex, who's actually an actor. And Flex, he was a good-looking guy. He had the short, I don't know, like short dreads or whatever. And he got into it. He goes, hey, man, I would trust this white kid. He's not even a white kid. He's a human being. And I would trust him any day over someone like you. And those two started getting at it. And all I know is the Islam guy called Flex an Uncle Tom. I don't know what. He's like, I'm an Uncle Tom. You're blah, blah, blah. And they went at it. And he said, come on, Jim, get out of this place. And like, don't you come near me. I'll take this man any day in a war, and blah, blah, blah. And I became really close. And I still keep in touch with Maceo and Kevin Brown, and Brown Brothers. It was such a great time in my life. And we became friends, and we spent a lot of time. And they gave me so much love. That community in Harlem gave me so much love. To the point where, I'll tell you two quick stories. I remember years later, well, not even that. Me and Tracy Morgan had a conversation in a car across the street one day, and I really wish everyone heard it. It was so powerful. It was so beautiful. One of the guys, too, Yee, we would spend so much time together. I became really close to everyone there with their love. And I remember when the TV series finally aired, the Uptown Comedy Club, you know, I'm on TV, and I wanted to go back to my hometown, and I wanted to fluff my peacock feathers to let him know Jim Breuer made it, and I'm on television. And I walked into this bar that doesn't exist anymore, and they're like, hey, Jim, how you doing? I'm like, I saw some people I knew, and I said, hey, man, told the bartender, can you turn on Channel 5? The Uptown Comedy Club's coming on. And the Uptown Comedy Club came on, and one of my friends saw me on, it wasn't a friend, one of the people I know came up to me, went to high school with me. He points at the TV, and the pure, vicious, blind disgust. What's it like working with you-know-whats? And I'm like, whoa. I said, no, man. Dude, they're really cool. That guy there, that guy Maceo, he's so funny. You got to do the skit. And these guys, you got to meet the bride. And he looked at me in disgust that I actually was being honest about how much I love these people. And he looked at me, and he's like, oh, you got to say that because they pay you? And I just realized that's a moment in time where my knowledge, my heart, my spirit has grown, and this person hasn't. I've grown. I've got to know the humans, not the blacks, the humans. I gave respect. I got to know people. They got to know me. We showed each other respect and love. I lived it. I know it exists, and I know it can happen. So, Victoria Parks, I ask you to apologize for your comment, because I know that love and that respect does exist and can exist because we did it in Harlem. We did it. But I also knew these people weren't ready for that yet because they didn't experience it. And I can't try to force it on them. All I can do is set an example and walk a better walk and live a better life and grow spiritually and grow with morality. And maybe if we had more of that, or maybe if the news told us a little more of that, we wouldn't have a situation where people are stomped on and beaten to death. Maybe. Maybe. I think it's better than what they're pushing. That's all I'm saying. And they get paid a lot of money to push what they're pushing. I'm telling you it's free, what I just told you, and it's God's honest truth. You know, and a quick story too. My wife, when she found Jesus, you know, I was doing good with cash, and I was big, you know, I'd go to the Met games, and I had a suite. I was able to get a suite for the day, and my wife's like, can you bring the church group? I was like, all right, you know, I'll bring the church as long as they watch the game. We're not like talking about Jesus all the time. We're going to watch the Met game because, you know, DeGrom's pitching on my show. So as we're going to the stadium, it's packed. The highways, tons of traffic, and we're not going to make it. So I decided to cut through Harlem. And I saw and I'm cutting through all the roads in Harlem in this van, all white people. And I saw some of them getting a little nervous, and I said, on my kids' lives, it's a true story. I looked at my buddy next to me and went, listen, don't worry about it, because I tell you what, if things went down, this is the neighborhood where I'd feel safest. They love me here, and I love them. And as I said that, I came to a stoplight, and there was a woman with a stroller on her baby and a guy behind her, and he just smashed my window. Bang! And he goes, yo, I love you, man! I love you! Yo, let me get a quick pic! Let me go, yo! It's a man from Uptown! He didn't even know me from Half-Baked, he knew me from Uptown. It was just, the timing was impeccable. But the point of the story is, we can make life better. We have that opportunity, and we can do better. That's all I'm saying. Morality, God, humanity. Okay, that was a lot. I remember even being on ESPN for something, and there was a Samoan football player. I don't remember him. I think he was famous. And we were about to go on air, and he was looking at me, and he was kind of giving me an attitude. And I said, you okay? And he made a snarky remark. He goes, I don't like white people. I went, oh, okay, well, all right. I didn't know I was lumped in with the whole group there. But I get that too. I get that too. I get it. So let's pretend it does not. I love how everyone just tries to pretend it doesn't exist, but let's find ways to spread more information, more kindness, more love, rather than we're going to go AWOL with this thing and run down the whole camp of how we can continue to hate one another and divide. That's all I pray for, man. All right. One last one. It's conspiracy time. The New York City thing. You know, for those of you who don't know, a New York City, someone walked in a building. There's a picture of him. But what I love too was CNN. Again, why would you believe any station that blatantly just, again with the race baiting and the wrong, CNN goes, the suspect is a white guy. He's not even close to being white. Who owns CNN? Can we get pictures of him? Can we get information on the person that owns CNN? Can we get information on the person that wrote? Mark Thompson is the media executive. Sir Mark John Thompson is a British American. Oh, so he's British and American. Huh. I wonder if he has ties to anywhere. Now, I'm not saying Mark wrote this, but why would you push out a narrative? A, we understand that the suspect is white. When there's already videos, and he's all over the internet, that he's not even close. He's not even tan. But yet you'll believe them to tell you to their medical news, and you'll believe them when they tell you who are the bad people, and you'll believe them. But when it comes to, hey, there's a shooter, he's white, whoops, wrong. Hey, trust us. Stop watching the news. No media, no TV, no news. Free mind, evil, Satan. I don't know what to tell you. None of this has God. None of this has morality. None of this has spirituality. None of it spreads love. None of it. Why would you infiltrate your life that doesn't fill your cup up with any of that? It's mind-boggling. Anyway, during COVID, and I did this on the Bruniverse podcast during the bunker, the number 33 ran rapid. And I know a lot of you don't like hearing this, or it's your first time listening to this. I don't know anything about Masonry or Freemasonry, but I do know during COVID, my wife and I both looked at each other and went, I've watched 3 different news channels say that makes the number 33. Now, is that a coincidence? Play this tape. And then I want you to, there's another guy. Now, before I play this guy, this guy on the internet. I've seen him. A lot of his, listen, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of his stuff, I can't. Some of his stuff's intriguing, but he really, I never sent the video, sorry. Thank you, Kyle. Oh, I didn't send the 33 video? What is it? Just say it, Kyle.
No, never sent it.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. I'll show it to you. So the 33, all right, I want to show you guys something as the internet's flocking away. Is he really going to check his phone again? I got it.
Let's break this down, y'all. So around 6:30 p.m., Shane,
There's 6 people are dead.
33rd floor, bro, of the Black Stone. Let's break this.
Second
I want to show you this. He goes on the 33rd. First of all, let's just talk about this. How does a guy, just 6:30 p.m., it's still broad daylight out, walk into a high security building? Have you ever been to Manhattan? If I want to do a radio spot, I gotta first get through the first door, then I have to check in at the desk where there's 2 guys there. Then there's security guys at the turnstiles that I have to get by there once I get my pass. And there's always 1 cop, 2 cops, security guards. Then once you get past there, there's more security guards. So how does a guy just stroll into a building, broad daylight, he's got a big, he didn't have one of these. He's walking down like, hey man, going to the grocery store. Walks into the building, supposedly shoots. No cops are on the way yet. Nobody's called the police yet. I don't know all the details. He's able to get by security, get in the elevator, which most of Manhattan now, you have to program the floor you're going on. You have to program, the guy that checks you in has to program the floor. There is no getting in and pressing a button. I don't know if that's the truth with this building. I'd like to know that. Where you go in, there is no 16th floor, 17th floor. It's you're on the 13th floor and you'll be in elevator B. You get in elevator B and you just go to the 13th floor. How does a guy get all the way to the 33, interesting number, and just get away with this all? And why do they always take themselves out? That fascinates me always. Because they're cowards? I don't know. That's bizarre to me. I'm going to send you something, Kyle, while I go into this other thing. I want you to go on TikTok and look for COVID-33. You think you'd do that? And I want all of you to check this out. Go on TikTok and hit COVID-33. Okay? And here you go. I got it. I want you all to watch this, and you tell me. You believe in you don't have to believe in conspiracies, but I want you to explain this to me. You ready?
Cases. Today we have 33 cases, so it's gone up by 11. That brings, those are 11 new cases. 22 go to 33.
As we sort through this here in Arkansas, today we have 33 confirmed positive cases in Arkansas.
As of today, we have 33 confirmed cases with Boston residents. We expect those numbers to climb.
As of this afternoon, we have 33 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive for COVID-19.
So as of this morning, there were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
Thank you. Lots to get to tonight. I'm Leon Hendricks. We want to start with new information into our newsroom. Within the past couple of hours, there are now 33 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Michigan.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Richard Gierhardt. Karina Corral has the night off. More cases of the coronavirus were confirmed today in...
As of today, we have 33 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive for COVID-19.
Today we have 33 cases.
There were 33 new cases.
The state of Minnesota today reported 33 new COVID-19 related deaths.
There are 33 confirmed cases in Arkansas.
That's the largest single-day increase so far, raising the total to 33.
33.
There were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
33 everywhere. I think that was Red Team Go. I think 33 is like Red Team Go. Everybody goes, okay, let's do it. It's time.
Wasn't it Kennedy that said we have secret societies? So if you don't believe in conspiracies, was one of the greatest presidents of all time a conspiracy theorist? Because the great speech that they teach you to remember about JFK is, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. But if you listen to that whole speech, he clearly says, we have secret societies within our nation trying to control us, creating wars, creating this. And I don't know what that means. That's up to you. I have no clue. But that is weird to you?
33 new cases. 33 people died in fucking Hong Kong. The number 33. We all know what that.
What does that mean? Is that a conspiracy? Does that count as a conspiracy? Or is that just the most incredible coincidence in human history? That all those news channels and all those states and all those counties and all those different people that never met each other all brought up the number 33. And this shooter went up to the 33rd floor. How many times you hear, the number 33 holds various meanings depending on the context in numerology. It's a master number. Master. Yes. They think they're free, but little do they know that it's a master number associated with spiritual illumination. Spiritual illumination. I'll just leave that there. I don't know any of this stuff. I have no clue what it means. It's just entertainment. So with that said, let's get into one more conspiracy thing. You know, did you guys ever watch... You know, I'm going to go past that. We're not going to talk about Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura... You know what? Play it. Play it anyway. Play this. What? This is, by the way, this is like 2000... this show, I forgot what it was called. It's at least 7 to 10 years before the COVID outbreak. And I hate to rattle your bones here, but if we're going to start being honest and not trusting the news and your science and all the things that you drop the altar to, and you believe blindly, as long as it's on a television, as long as it gives you the facts, as long as it gives you the non-misinformation that you blindly trust, and it's not given you by your favorite politician or your favorite team or everything you blindly believe and trust. Explain this. This was on television years before COVID.
Left the United States of America.
Yes, sir, I have.
Why?
I do not feel safe living in the United States.
Do you want to come in and sit down?
No, sir, I'd rather not.
You'd rather just be here so you can make a fast exit if you have to.
As soon as you and I finish,
you're out
I'm
here.
leaving the country again. Why? Because in a very short time, not today, not tomorrow, but very soon, we'll be facing compulsory vaccination under the mistaken term of voluntary vaccination.
What is it about these vaccinations? You think that they're bad?
Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that the World Health Organization has decided that we have 90% too many people. The World Health Organization has been working since 1974 on vaccines to create permanent sterility.
Doctor, the response is going to be, you're crazy. How can you say this stuff?
They will induce a pandemic. You're going to get the flu. Everybody around us is going to get the flu. Then the United States government, based on their statements that they've already made, will say, oh my, we have a pandemic. What that means is a Holocaust, a genocidal Holocaust.
Those crazy conspiracy shows, those number 30, I tell you what, conspiracy, I don't care what I've seen and what's in front of my face. I'm always going to trust my false idols and my false gods, and I will defend them to the death. I bet you will. So, with all that said, I have an old bit, and people keep, I always get this question. It's called Long Live Paint. Long Live Paint. And it's based, it's a true story, okay? And I'm going to be, everyone says, is it a true story? I go, yes, 90% of it is true. I'll tell you which part is not true. The whole story is basically, I used to work at, I used to work in Sears, which doesn't exist anymore, and I worked in the paint department, and we had a great time. Matter of fact, whenever I go in Gutfeld, one of the security guys there, who I should get on the show to tell the story, he was working in the department across from me, and he'd always, I swear to God, he used to always come up to me like, Breuer, come on, man, make me laugh. Do the beat up yourself thing. Do the beat up yourself thing. And I would, you know, I would pretend I'm in a brawl, and I'd do this whole beating myself up thing. I did on Saturday Live years ago, whatever. I used to do this stupid thing where I was having twins, and the babies would grab my face. I would do anything for a laugh. So, and I also would call other departments in Sears and I would prank them. Like there was an old lady that lived in Linens, and I felt bad for her. So I'd call her up and flirt with her, pretending I was an old man. And I'd be like, "Hey, Carol, you looked great today when I walked by. I love that sunflower dress, and I left some pork lo mein on your register." And she's like, "Where are you? Why don't you come say hello?" I'm like, "I'm too embarrassed. I can't tell you who I am." And I kind of felt like I was doing a good thing. There was a guy that I'll never forget this too. I was playing the Paramount in Long Island in Huntington, and someone screamed out, "Long live paint." I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "No, I was there. It's Scott." And I looked down, and it was the guy from Toys, Scott. Now Scott also went to my high school. Scott worked in Toys. I used to torment Scott. So I got to take you back in time here. Take me back. It's 80s, and back then he was a heavy kid. Back then he was a heavy kid. So when you were trained to work in a department store, they would tell you, no matter how big your line is, if that phone rings, you must pick up the phone. Because you don't know if that's someone checking on you, a district manager or a manager. You must excuse the customer. "Excuse me 1 second, I have to take this call." You take the call and you go, "Sears, this is Jim Breuer, paint department. How may I help you? I have to put you on hold. I'm with a customer." You have to address this person. All right? So whenever Scott was busy, and when he was busy, he was heavy, so he's always sweating. And then one day, it was Cabbage Patch. And in the 80s, Cabbage Patch was whatever the new phenomenon was. This was huge. Now, remember I told you I lived near a black neighborhood? Well, a lot of the black women came. They wanted a Cabbage Patch doll. There was only like 2 black Cabbage Patch dolls. It was all white Cabbage Patch dolls, so the black ones went quick. So they were pissed. They were all like Jamaican. "Well, what you mean you ain't got no black Cabbage Patch dolls? I've been here since 7 a.m. 7 a.m. What you mean?" And you'd have to write them a rain check. And that's when he'd get yelled at, but that's when I would call him. And she'd like, no, I'm with you now. I don't care who's on the phone. And he'd pick up the phone, and I'd go, "Hey, I'm driving in today from Massapequa." You know, "I have to put you on hold." I go, "Don't put me on hold, you son of a bitch. You put me on hold last week." And I'd have him write down, "Do you have Wilson basketball, serial code, blah, blah, blah." I'd drive him nuts, absolutely nuts. And until he caught me one day, he's like, "Was that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was me." I had to. So everyone knew I would prank. Everyone knew, all right? We kept it light. We were all high schoolers. Some of us were just starting college. So it was one day, this guy, now I'm in paint, and right next to me is hardware, okay? And there's 2 hardwares. There's like the serious hardware department where they're selling for commission, and then there's the ones where you're just buying hammers and wrenches and stuff like that. And we didn't take it seriously. So he comes in. He's a brand new guy in hardware. Well, I go up to say hello to him, and I say, "Hey man, I'm Jim. I work in paint. If you need anything," and he says, "Hey man, why don't you stay in your department?" He goes, "You know, you come here, you look high all the time." He goes, "You know, we're here to serve people. You understand that, right?" He goes, you don't know anything about paint. I've seen you tell people that they should stain their kitchen. I've seen you tell people that you should use gloss, like on the outside of that. You don't know anything about the paint department." I said, "Hey, you know, I'm just having fun." He goes, "Do me a favor and stay in paint." He's a little snippy. So I walk back to paint. Now, I'm a little aggravated. First of all, I'm already judging him hard because, in my opinion, if you're like in your 40s and you work in Sears hardware, like something happened. You know what I mean? Like, you're not crushing it. And you're not, something's going down. So I decide I'm going to call him, prank him. On every newspaper is again. Muammar Gaddafi is evil. We must kill Muammar Gaddafi. Libya, bad. Libya, bad. Muammar Gaddafi was the boogeyman. We had to go after him. And he shot missiles at an American plane while they were flying over his country, and we bombed his tent. Literally bombed his tent. Just sheets floating. And I don't even know if he had missiles. I think the poor bastard had bottle rockets. And we bombed him. Had nothing to do that he didn't want to be part of the central bank system, had nothing to do that he wanted to take care of all Africa and not rely on the rest of the world or the banking system. It had nothing to do with giving free education to his people, had nothing to do with free health care for all Libyans, had nothing to do with building a pipeline of water for all of Africa, it had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with, he's a terrorist! Look at him, he's brown, he wears that stupid thing around his hat. Who wears sheets around their head? Terrorists, that's who. So Muammar Gaddafi is all over the papers. And you gotta understand something, there's no internet, there's no phones, there's no TikTok, there's none of that. There's just, if you had to change the channel, you had to get up out of your seat and change the channel. Every channel, Muammar Gaddafi, evil. Muammar Gaddafi, evil. 6 missiles, 6 missiles, 6 missiles. Muammar Gaddafi, right? So I call up the hardware department, and this is pre-9/11, obviously, and I can see him. He's like 50 feet away. I can see him, and he picks up the phone. He goes, "Hi, this is John, Sears Hardware Department. How can I help you today?" And I'm on my life, I'm looking at him. And I said, "Hello."
It's under the table.
It's under the table. Ah. This is literally what the phones look like anyway. I said, "Hello. This is Muammar Gaddafi. I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles," and I'm watching them, "to blow up the Sears Hardware Department in Valley Street, New York." I even went, and I said, "You have 15 minutes to evacuate all of the tools and the hammers and the drill bits of the hardware." And I ended by saying, "You remember this, my hardware friend. Long live paint." Okay? And I hung up the phone, and I'm cackling. Now, in the paint department was go to the stock room, and the stock room go to the break room. So I left the floor. It's just me working. I left the floor, went to the break room. I'm enjoying my moment of hilarity. And about 15 minutes later, I go back out on the floor. On my life, I'm looking for Scott. And there's no customers, there's nobody in Sears. And I think this is so weird. And it's not, and I'm looking at my watch, I'm like, where is it? And I walked into hardware and he's gone, everyone's gone. So I'm just hanging out. It felt like 5 minutes, and all of a sudden, a plainclothes security guy comes out of the stock room. He's like, "Breuer, we got one more. He goes, "Come on, man, we gotta go." I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "The new guy from hardware, he got a bomb threat. We gotta evacuate, like we're evacuating." And I went, "What?" I said, "That was me." And he goes, "Dude, it's not funny." I went, "No, it's hilarious. That was me." And he goes, "Oh, all right, hold on. We got a false alarm. "Dude, are you being serious right now?" He's like, "You're in a lot of trouble if you're being serious." I went, "Yeah, I'm being serious." He goes, "Bro, we're like in the middle of evacuation. We evacuated the mall." I'm like, "You evacuate the mall?" I go, "How did he get a bomb threat?" He said, "You called in a bomb threat." I said I was Muammar Gaddafi. And I sent Libyan missiles to hit Sears hardware in Valley Stream. Listen, that's on whoever hired him, and that's on him. That's on you right now. That ain't on me. You can't be. Something wrong with him. I'm sorry. So now I got to go downstairs. I got to meet all these cops. Like, there's a lot of cops waiting for me. And there's a private security room where they have cameras and all the cashiers. And I sit in there, and I'm going through every cop. Back then, you could smoke. I didn't smoke, but the cops would be like, so wait a minute, say this one more time. I said I was Muammar Gaddafi. No, do the noise. I'm like, hello, man. And then and each cop would go, hey, man, if you ever get pulled over, here's a card, a PBA card, and just show them that you got pulled over, and they should let you go. I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. I made all the way to the chief. Chief showed up, and the chief, he goes, tell me what happened. And I tell him the story, and he goes, that guy's a suspect. I mean, you can't be. He goes, listen, man, I'm the chief. He gives me his card. I'm like, oh wow, thanks. And then he goes, I'd love to help you, but it's in the feds' hands, and the feds are here. Okay. Because I'm going to send them in. I went, okay. They're going to love this story, don't you think? And the feds came in, and they were a little different. The guy was like, hey, listen, I don't know what everyone thinks is so funny here, but you're in serious trouble. He goes, I had to leave on a helicopter and get here as soon as possible. I had to let the National Defense know that we may have a serious terrorist situation here. So you don't get to call your lawyer, and you don't have to call mommy and daddy. I'm the government, and if I don't think your story is right on, you're going to have a pretty tough day today. I said, okay, and he goes, keep eye contact. I went, okay. I said, I called the guy from hardware, and I said, I'm Muammar Gaddafi, and I sent 6 Libyan missiles to hit Sears hardware. And I go through the whole story, and I said, and I ended by saying, long live paint. And he goes, yeah, that guy's a suspect. I'm with the feds, man, here. So that's the bit. However, the feds never showed up. It ended with the police. They didn't even evacuate the mall, but they did evacuate Sears, and they were about to evacuate the mall. They already made the call, and they were about to evacuate all the stores of Green Acres Mall. Now, in the story, I replaced the feds with the supervisor of that district. So I was suspended for a couple days, which I was really bummed. I liked working Sears Paint. I liked making my phone calls. We all had a great time. So I had to go meet the district manager in Rockville Center, Long Island, where Sears, that was like the big thing. And that, like when I just replaced everything. I walked in, he goes, sit down. He goes, so tell me what happened. He's behind his desk. And I said, well, listen, I was done with my paints. I was done with everything I had to do in paint. And I like keeping a loose mood, so I do prank calls. And maybe I shouldn't have done this one, but I called the new guy in hardware, and I said I was Muammar Gaddafi, and I sent Libyan missiles to hit Sears hardware in Valley Stream. I said he had 15 minutes to evacuate all the tools and all the hammers and all the drill bits, and I ended by saying, remember this, long live paint. And I hung up and I giggled, and I was 50 feet from him. And all my life, the supervisor was behind the desk, and he goes, okay, why don't we concentrate a little more on the paint department and a little less on phone calls? And I went, so am I not fired? He goes, no, you're not fired. I went, oh my God, thank you so much. And well, now I go to Sears, And the guy in hardware is still working there. Everyone in there is my friend, and all you would hear, I'd be in paint. I was on, like, probation, so I'm just being really good. I'm like, hi, welcome to Sears Paint. Let me help you with this paint situation. And all I would hear is everybody that would go on break would walk by hardware and go, watch out, there's a bomb! And they just, yeah, take cover. They were relentless, and the poor bastard eventually quit. And I don't know whatever happened to him. I wish he'd come out and say, I was the guy and it was terrible. I apologize. I apologize to you that you fell for the joke. So that's a true story. But hey, man, YouTube, thanks for hanging out on Jim Breuer Live. Instagram, thanks for hanging out, Jim Breuer Live. Life, we're all on borrowed time, man. We're on borrowed time. We really have to figure out how we want to spend that time. Do we want to get caught up in hate, anger, lashing out? Do we want to keep believing everything that's put in front of our face? Do we want to blindly just keep working, giving money to everyone that says, give me your money and I will go attack another country or do whatever they do with our money? And do we? Can we just start getting back to humanity? When horrible things happen in Cincinnati, can we find a loving, thoughtful way to start walking better as humans rather than keep this fire burning? I know we can. I know we can. And I pray to God one day that every human in every society is able to go, you know what, man? You guys are talking about you want to go to war with Iran and or what? No. We the people and the people of Iran will speak to one another, not the leaders. Because for years you have destroyed humanity, you've lied to us, you've taken from us, and we don't trust you anymore. We don't trust you anymore. I believe in humans. I believe in us. I really do. And I pray to God you start believing yourself. I pray to God you do, because you are that valuable and you can make that change. And I know you can. And I know you could start thinking for yourself. It's about time that the fearless rise. Not violent. Just be fearless. Question. And anyone that doesn't want to be part of it, it's okay. They want to stay here. Let's rise. Let's rise that spirit. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out, Jim Breuer Live. I'm leaving the country for like 6 weeks. I'll keep you in tuned on what's going on. Tour dates, I don't have any. I'm going to do one show in Naples. And go check out, you don't have to be religious or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. I've told people, hey man, do you like the Funny How God Works on YouTube? Like, I don't watch that crap. I'm not into that crap. I'm not telling you to go to church. I don't go to church. Like, I don't do that crap. It's all good. I'm telling you, those stories can help you. We got 2 more coming out. They're heavy. They're real. Real things happen in my life. And I hope you like them while I'm gone. And I'll announce some dates. I'm looking at some dates for 2026, and there's going to be pop-up dates at the end of this year. I just don't, most likely they're going to be Funny How God Works shows, where it's storytelling, and some stand-up shows, but later in the year. When I figure it out and have the passion for it, I'll let you know. Until then, I wish you nothing but love and safety, and go take care of yourself, and we can take care of others. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging. You!